Franchising is the most misunderstood and most overlooked form of entrepreneurship. We're here to educate you and help you find the entrepreneur within. Franchising is not all about the French fries.
We find that individuals who are exploring business ownership tend to have a lot of misperceptions and misunderstandings about the franchise industry. So what we want to do is help prospective business owners make confident and educated decisions before moving forward or not moving forward with a business. Welcome to Unpredicted Entrepreneur. Hello and welcome to episode 53 of Unpredicted Entrepreneur. My name is Sara Waskow and I am joined by my colleague Roxanne Rapske. We are with FranNet of Dallas, Fort Worth, and Oklahoma, and we created this podcast to provide information and useful resources for all things franchising. And we truly love interviewing guests and learning their stories. And so today we are thrilled to have a guest join us today who's a busy man, and we are so grateful that he took time out of his schedule. Orlando Montan, did I say it correctly? Orlando Montan is the, let me get it right, President and CEO of True North Restoration. When he joined us on the podcast, he was the owner of the Dallas location and has just purchased the Denver location. So Orlando, thank you so much for taking time out. He is joining us via Zoom today because he is up in Denver working on getting his new franchise location opened. So welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sara. Really thrilled to be with you and Roxanne today, and just share a little bit about my story, and hopefully it will inspire some folks to look into the whole franchising opportunity a little bit more. So, thank you again. Really looking forward to our time here today.
Well, absolutely. So I love hearing stories of how people became unpredicted entrepreneurs. And you had a very inspiring one. So tell us a little bit. Let's just get started with your background and how you ended up becoming a True North franchisee. What led you there?
Okay, no, terrific. So my background is mostly in corporate America. Spent most of my career with Verizon, started in New York, then relocated after several years to Texas, then did a little stint in California, and then came back to Texas as quickly as I could. Really have enjoyed Texas. We raised, my wife and I raised both of our girls there, and it's just been a great place to raise a family. Then, had left Verizon, and then worked still in corporate America through some other jobs and different corporations, mostly in sales, marketing, business development was the area that I focused in on after I left from Verizon. And then probably about 5 or so years ago, did my first entrepreneurial stint. And that one at that time was with Amazon. It was a delivery service provider, basically a contractor, business owner with Amazon. And I did that out of Austin, Texas, while I was still living in Dallas, Texas. And then after a couple of years of doing that, decided to sell my portion of the business. And then at that point in time, I just started really looking for other opportunities, and was just so blessed to meet Chris Coleman and Jay Peters, who were part of True North Restoration, and then ultimately met the rest of the team, Justin Donat and Ray Donat, and then literally everything just kind of came into place, and have really enjoyed the last just under 2 years with True North. As you mentioned, started in Dallas, and then recently just purchased my partner and I, because with True North Restoration, I do own that with my business partner, Manuel Caballero, and we own the Dallas location. And as you mentioned, we just recently purchased the location here in Denver. And the other piece of that was always had that fire, even from early on when I was growing up. I used to deliver newspapers, worked in the grocery store. So I think I had that entrepreneurial gene from early on. Even when I was in high school, I sold, candy to support, some of my activities in sports with baseball and running cross country. We always needed to raise monies for different whether it was for our jerseys or just different equipment that we needed with our sports activities. So I think I've had that entrepreneurial gene, and I am definitely exercising it and definitely really pushing the limits on it as much as I can. So really thrilled to be part of True North, and the whole franchise opportunity has just been just incredible for Manuel and myself.
So did you start, so you were in a partnership before and you sold your interest. Did you start from day one with a partner in this new business, or did you add Manuel at a later date?
So no, great question, Roxanne. So it was literally day one. I mean, I would say when I initially started exploring it, I was on my own, but quickly or soon thereafter, I realized that it would probably be important to have a business partner. And Manuel, just to give you a little background, I mean, I've known Manuel for many, many years. Matter of fact, I used to mentor him when he was in high school. I was part of an organization called the Magneto Leadership Institute, which actually I'm a part of the board of that nonprofit. And Manuel came through that program, the leadership program, and took a liking to him early on. And we've have always maintained a relationship. We did a couple of other what I would call real estate deals even before the partnership. So he and I have known each other, worked closely together for many, many years. And I really felt that this would be a great partnership. I mean, Manuel, at the time when we originally talked about this opportunity, he was in corporate America himself. He has a very strong IT background, worked for a global company here in the Dallas Irving area. And, when I told him about this opportunity, he was raring to go. He also has, he's obviously a lot younger than I am, but he seems to have that entrepreneurial gene in his blood as well.
That's wonderful. We always have conversations, not always, but frequently, with people that want to go into a partnership. And there are a lot of things to consider. We released a podcast a couple of episodes back from an attorney who was giving a lot of strong and great advice about how to get into a partnership. So really glad to hear that worked out for you guys. And that you've expanded, like you had success in Dallas and wanted to expand to Denver. So tell us a little bit about what True North Restoration is. Tell us a little bit about the business. And you mentioned kind of it being such a really good fit. What was it about that was so appealing to you that encouraged and inspired you to take the leap and go that direction for your next business?
No, excellent, Sara. No, I'll definitely dig into that. There's a lot there to dig into. So, the first thing is because I was in another partnership prior, when I was with the Amazon business, I really wanted to ensure that the next venture that I got into was really a much stronger partnership. And what I mean by that is that when I started exploring True North, one of the things that right off the bat really got me excited and really inspired me was the culture. The culture at True North is really, really incredible. I mean, even to the point where most of our meetings start with prayer. Not used to that. Never, did that in corporate America. Not something that we did in our prior partnership, but that was something that was very important to me. The values that True North is really strong on with regard to the culture, the integrity, honest and being truthful, right? Those are attributes and things that were very, very high on my agenda, and that I really wanted to ensure that was a big part of whatever business I got that I became part of. And then even for Manuel and myself, that was something that was critical to our partnership, right? Wanted to know that this was something that we could trust each other, that we had, each other's back, right? That we, that again, not necessarily blind faith, but that it was something that when we said something, it meant that those things were being cared for. So we vetted that out early on, and the guys at True North have been, absolute champions for all those different attributes that we were looking for. I mean, they've absolutely have time and time again, even when we were going through the most recent acquisition with Denver, they showed themselves in terms of their integrity, in terms of their morals, in terms of, their ethics. It just showed up, over and over, in terms of the details of all of the negotiations, right? Being able to go back and say, hey, look, I thought we had agreed to this, and, and true to their word, always willing to be flexible and willing to make those changes. But in terms of True North, so what we do is we are a restoration company. So we are, mostly dealing with emergencies, whether someone has a water emergency, a pipe burst, a toilet that backs up, a sewer line, anything that would cause any additional water damage. It could be, rain that gets into the home from the outside and comes in. We also deal with fire emergencies. We deal with any types of issues with mold, asbestos. Our team out here in Denver also does reconstruction. So there's a lot of different aspects of this business. I mean, it was interesting because when we got started with Dallas, our main focus was water, fire, and mold. But when we took over the franchise in Denver, because they had a trained team that handles asbestos, we're able to handle that service. And in addition, they also have a team that also handles the reconstruction. And what I mean by the reconstruction is when we on the mitigation or the restoration side, we go in and we do all the cleanup and the dry out. And in many cases, we also have to do demolition, whether it's removing carpet, removing floor, removing sheetrock, removing cabinets from the kitchen, the bathroom. Typically, right, someone needs to put that back together. And in Colorado, we have a reconstruction team that handles that as well.
So I have a question for you. When we first asked you about True North and why you got involved with them, you talked a lot about the culture, the integrity, but you never talked about your passion for doing cleanup or your passion for water or your passion for fire. And a lot of people talk about passion. They want to do something, they want a business that they're passionate about. And we always say that your passion can come from different things, right? It can come from the money that you make. It can come from making a difference in the community. It could come from this alliance with somebody that you truly want to be in business with. So I just wanted to bring that up because I want to and ask you if somebody would have said, hey, Orlando, how about a restoration business where you're going to be cleaning up water and mold and asbestos? Would you have been really excited about that? Or would you have maybe paused and said, I don't think so?
I probably would have looked at you and turned the other way, Roxanne, and I would have said, heck no. I probably would have used another verb, but I want to keep this on the up and up. But no, great question. And to be honest with you, no, I definitely was not passionate about cleaning up poop water and dirty water, contaminated water or asbestos and none of that. But what I quickly learned about the business that we're in, this restoration, just this incredible opportunity that I'm blessed to be part of, is that what I'm truly passionate about is about helping people in need. Yep. And really where this really came full circle for me was last year. We had the opportunity. This was when we just owned the Dallas location. We had the opportunity to go out and serve during Hurricane Ian, which, as many of you know, that took place. It was around the October timeframe, I guess end of September, October timeframe of last year in Fort Myers, and we and our team got a chance to go out there. And when you are dealing with the type of devastation that storm and that hurricane brought to that area and the losses that people had, I mean, you literally were dealing with people that pretty much have lost everything that they own to their name. When you're on a one level home and you have water that's 6 foot and beyond in your home, not much survives. And that really brought it full circle for me in terms of why I'm in this business and why I'm so passionate about the work that we do. And it's because we have an opportunity every single day to make a difference. And in addition to that, the other thing for us, especially for Manuel and myself, is that we know that at times the construction business could be a little bit challenging, right? You may set an appointment with a contractor and they tell you they're going to be there at 9 o'clock. And, sometimes you're waiting for hours or maybe they never show up. And we are very passionate, Manuel and I, about keeping our commitments and making sure when we tell someone that we're going to show up at 9 or 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock in their afternoon to their home, we do everything within our power to make sure that we show up on time. And if we're going to be delayed for any reason, we communicate with them, we text them, we call them, let them know exactly what's going on. But we do not want anyone waiting on us or wondering what happened, why didn't we show up? So those are things for us that are absolutely critical. But again, the passion really comes about helping and serving people in many instances, in probably the biggest need or potentially the biggest emergency that they've ever had in their home, right? I mean, the folks that dealt with this storm, Hurricane Ian, last fall, right? They probably had never seen anything like that. I mean, look, we have storms, we have, lots of rain, especially down in that area in the Florida region, but not something to the magnitude of what happened in Fort Myers, right? That is not a normal thing. Now, as I say that, I know that the storms that we've been experiencing, obviously right now, many people are dealing with the devastation from the wildfires in Hawaii, in Maui specifically right now. So those are things that unfortunately, with everything going on with the climate change and all of that, unfortunately, these storms are just getting more and more devastating. And the blessing for us is that we're a company that can help and serve the community when those types of situations come up in their communities.
Yeah, thanks for that, sharing that, because what Roxanne brought up is so true, and you're passionate beyond what the business technically, physically does. Right. and really focused on being able to serve the community, which is really key and important. So thank you for sharing that. You've been extremely successful. You, obviously have been, how long have you owned the Dallas territory?
The Dallas location is just under 2 years. It's definitely a little bit over a year and a half, but just under 2 years. In December, we would have owned that location for 2 years.
Okay, so less than 2 years, and you've expanded to another location. And when we were introduced to you by our mutual friend Chris Coleman, he just shared with us that you're such a rock star and that we should definitely get to know you. So I would love for you to share. One, how do you market your business? How are you getting your clients? Because I know that's a big question for a lot of people that are thinking about going into business. And what do you attribute your success to?
No, terrific.
There's other damage restoration companies out there.
Right. Exactly. So, part of it, comes into what I talked about before, right? Our, Manuel and I's, passion and our commitment to keeping our commitments with our customers. But the other thing is, especially for Manuel and I, who do not have any experience in restoration, we've done a little bit of construction, a little remodeled. We both have owned some homes that we've remodeled, but certainly the restoration business is very, very, much more involved and much more intricate than that. And for us, the importance of being involved with a company like True North, with a franchise, right, that has systems and processes and other business owners that we can lean on, was absolutely critical to our success, where we could immediately call someone if we had a question about anything with regard to the business. I mean, I will tell you, the other, key benefit that I attribute to being part of a franchise is literally month one. There was a situation in Denver, in the Boulder area, with the wildfires, and the franchise called us up and said, "Hey, if you guys are willing, there's a situation out here that families in need. We, as a location in Denver, cannot handle all that work ourselves. If you guys want to come out here, there may be some opportunity," right? They didn't give us any promises. So we, literally, Manuel and I picked ourselves up, got into our truck, drove out to Denver, and just went to work. Worked real closely with the franchise. And we were able to land, several jobs, and we got an opportunity, one, to get our feet wet with the restoration work, and specifically with the cleanup that happens after wildfires. So that's one of the key elements for Manuel and for myself. Is that was another key element for us in terms of why we got involved with True North, and specifically with a franchise business, because we knew that those opportunities were going to present themselves. And actually, for us, we had 3 of those opportunities. So the wildfires in Denver at the beginning of the year, during the summer, there was flooding that took place in St. Louis that we also deployed out to. And then, of course, the Hurricane Ian that I mentioned in the fall in Fort Myers, Florida. The other thing that I could add in terms of how we go and market is that specifically in restoration, there are companies, TPAs, third-party administrators, that also provide work to restoration companies. So we're signed up on several, two very prominent ones. One is Code Blue, another one is Lionsbridge. There's several others that we're also affiliated and partnered with. But basically what they do, those companies work with insurance companies, and then as the members of the insurance company file claims, in many instances, they work with a TPA that assigns or refers the work to a company like us. And then we can begin to engage with that client. We initially, on all of our jobs, we do an initial assessment. we report back to the TPA and the insurance company, and then we tell them what we found, and then based on those recommendations, they give us the go ahead to begin doing whatever work is needed for that particular homeowner that's affiliated with that particular insurance company. So that's another way. Another big one for us, as many of you may know, there are a lot of different networking groups out there. We participate with BNI, Business Network International, a very large networking group. As a matter of fact, it's a global networking group, and we've had tremendous success with them locally in the Dallas area. As a matter of fact, I will go on to tell you that the largest single revenue job that we had last year in Denver came as a referral through BNI. So, that is another great source for us being in restoration. That's another great source. The other thing that we've done early on, and we still do as often as we can, is partnerships with plumbers, partnerships with insurance agents, partnerships with roofing companies, partnerships with general contractors. I mean, those are some of the key partners that we have. Another one for us is property managers. That's another key partner for us. And those are, that's another area that as a business owner, particularly in restoration, those are key partnerships that you want to continue to drive those relationships, continue to, lean into those relationships, meet with them on a regular basis, let them know that, the service that you provide and how you can help and serve each other, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about serving the client, right? If the client has a pipe burst, right, the immediate thing that they need is to stop the source of that water. So typically a plumber's going to come in, and depending on how long that emergency occurred in that home, there may now be some residual damage with, maybe a carpet getting wet, a floor getting damaged, possibly buckling, maybe water getting into the wall. So all those things have to be assessed. And then that's where we come in. And that's, and again, those partners are absolutely critical to us, because we want, because if that referral partner, that plumber or that insurance agent is trusting us to interact and potentially do some work for their client, we take that very seriously, right? We take that extremely seriously, and we want to treat that customer just like if it was our very own customer, if it was, our very own parent, or a good friend. We want to treat them just like they expect to be treated. And for us, especially if it's coming from a referral partner, again, we just want to ensure that we are treating that customer well, because the last thing that we want is for that referral partner to hear back from that client that we mistreated them, that we didn't show up on time, that we didn't do the work, or we overcharged them, right? We don't want to hear any of that, right? I mean, those partnerships are absolutely critical to our success. And at the same time, many times we're also referring those referral partners, because sometimes we may be the first one that's called on a particular job, and we may need that plumber or that roofer or that general contractor, and we want to have that same level of comfort that our client is going to be well treated by our referral partners as well.
Absolutely.
So I hope that answered your question.
It did. That was such great advice about customer service and the value of building relationships and networking in the community. So we are so grateful that you shared all of your tips with us today. And Orlando, if someone has damage, and you made it clear, it could just be a pipe that broke. It doesn't have to be a flood or a fire, but somebody needs some restoration in their home or business in the Dallas area or in Denver, how would they reach you?
Okay. So to answer your question, yes, I mean, they could certainly call me directly. My direct contact number is 214-868-7547. You can also go on to our website, www.gotruenorth.com. You can reach us there, or you can also email me, and my email address is omontan, that's OMONTAN @gotruenorth.com. So any of those ways would reach us, and we'd be happy to help and serve. Even, sometimes people just have questions, because they may have had some water damage and they're not sure the extent of it. Many times we'd love to come in and just do a quick assessment, where we bring our meter. We can, do a quick assessment, see what the situation is. Is the floor wet? Is the wall wet? Is there any lingering damage that they need to be concerned about? We'd love to do that. We do that, pretty regularly. We just don't go in and start ripping things up. We do an assessment to assess what the situation is, and then from there we sit down with the client and then provide them with a game plan and what our best recommendation is for their specific situation.
Thank you, Orlando. We appreciate you joining us today and offering your services up to anybody that might be in need and isn't sure, or they are sure. So for those of you listening, thank you so much for joining us today. Please connect with Sara and I on LinkedIn. I'm Roxanne Rapske, Rapske, Sara with no H, Waskow, Waskow. You can also find us on frannet.com and on our YouTube channel at Frannet of Dallas, Fort Worth, and Oklahoma. And lastly, you can find us on any of your favorite podcasting platforms. Just look for Unpredicted Entrepreneur. Thank you.